everyone. We're back with the part of the PowerPoint that discusses evaluating body weight for health. We're going to divide this section into a couple videos because there's a lot of information in it. So I have to start off with the definition. We're going to talk about the term obesity. I know that's a tough word for a lot of us to hear, and I totally get that, but it is a clinical term, so we have to go over and have an understanding of what it is. So it's a condition that's characterized by having too much or excessive and unhealthy amounts of body fat. A healthy or desirable weight reflects a healthy balance between lean tissue and fat tissue. So here I have a couple models. This is a model of 1 pound of muscle, and this is a model of 1 pound of fat. Right? So when we think about assessing your weight for health, there's a number of assessment methods. There's the body mass index, known as the BMI. There's body composition assessment methods. There's a number of them we're going to talk about. And when we're talking about measuring body comp, we're talking about, do we have a healthy balance between lean tissue and fat tissue? And then we'll also talk about something known as the waist circumference that talks a little bit about where on our body we tend to store fat. So the first assessment tool we're going to talk about is known as the BMI. And the BMI uses a mathematical formula that takes your height and your weight, okay, and uses it to determine whether or not your weight is a risk to your health. Oops. Thanks. All right, so the BMI is equal to your weight in pounds divided by your height in inches squared times 703. So if we were in the face-to-face class right now, I would have all of you calculate your BMI. So I'd like you to do that so that you have an understanding of how to use the formula and you can apply the information to yourself, right? So again, it's your weight in pounds divided by your height in inches squared. Do that first and then multiply by 703. And if you're not sure how to get your height into inches, remember this. 1 foot equals 12 inches. All right, so if you're 5'4", give yourself 12 inches for the first, for every foot. So 5 times 12 would be 60 inches. And then you're 4 inches over that, you'd be 64 inches tall. So once you do your BMI calculation, you can come over here and you can assess what category you fall in. Okay, so why do we care? Why do we do the BMI? Right, so we know that at different ends of the spectrum for body mass index, if it's high or too low, that it increases the risk for mortality. All right, especially if we look over here, once we hit like a BMI of 30, that's really where we start to see the takeoff for risk. But I also want you to know that you can be too thin. All right, if you look over here, someone who has a BMI of 15 that also has an increased risk for mortality. So this may be someone that has anorexia nervosa. It could be someone that is malnourished due to a serious illness or to food deprivation. So those are some examples of where you might encounter someone with a really low body mass index. They might have malabsorption problems and can't absorb calories. There's a whole host of reasons for that. Okay, now the body mass index is controversial, all right, because it's not a measurement of how much lean tissue you have to fat tissue, right? So it can make someone who is, say, a strength-trained athlete and carries more lean tissue than the average person of the same height and weight look to be overweight. So if we look here at our picture, we have a woman that weighs 130 pounds, right? If you look at her body shape right here, she looks lean, okay? And if we look at what makes up that 130 pounds, 104 pounds is lean mass, and 26 pounds are fat mass, okay? If we come over here, we have a woman of the same height and weight, but when you look at the shape, you can see she looks heavier, even though the weight's the same as this woman. This woman's body composition, she has 91 pounds of lean mass and 39 pounds of fat mass. So she's carrying a lot more fat on her body, right? Now the BMI, same height, same weight, would equate these two women together, all right? Yet from physical observation, we can see that this one is a lot leaner. So that's why the body mass index is criticized. And if I'm working with strength-trained athletes or athletes who do carry a lot of lean muscle, I don't put a lot of stock into the BMI. So good thing to know, muscle mass is denser than body fat, meaning it's more compact. That means pound for pound, it takes up less space. All right, so we're going to stop the video there, and we're going to come back and talk about different ways to measure body composition.